Hello again, YouTube. Lovell is prior enlisted Marine, military history buff, and just overall somebody who does a lot of research. And this one's going to be an explains why video. And I honestly believe that we've entered into the opening salvo of Cold War 2.0. And I'm going to explain why I believe that. What was the Cold War? Well, the two major aggressors, us and the Soviet Union, never actually engaged in the field of battle, not directly, not officially. There were some Russian pilots that were in MiG 15s that were flying across the Yellow River into North Korea, and we do know that. And they were Russian advisors, but we took great care not to attack them directly. In fact, it proved to be quite the pain in the butt in Vietnam. And similarly, the Soviets were not a huge fan of taking on us because they our guys directly because of the fact they didn't want to make the conflict go much wider spread. Where basically there would be, if we got too much more wider spread, nukes would be in the air. And I was like, we don't want that. No, 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 no. Well, it was basically proxy war after proxy war after proxy war. Somebody would, one side or the other, would engage into a direct conflict, and the other side would send advisors, weapons, and basically and train the other side to fight against the side that they are interested in being done with. Well, look what we have here in Ukraine. Russian troops are directly engaged against the Ukrainians, and aside from some Americans who are involved in the Ukrainian Foreign Legion or providing aid, we are not directly involved in the conflict, although we are definitely not interested in seeing Russia take Ukraine. We're definitely not interested in that. And the Russians, considering they're struggling with Ukraine at this point, they're definitely not going to attack anywhere like Finland or anywhere else, because it's like the Finnish, for example, are notorious for putting up even greater resistance than Ukrainians. They're not going to take on Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, or Romania because they're all NATO countries. And if you take on one, you take them all on. And Russia is in no position to do that, and definitely does not want to do that because that would make for one heck of a huge conflict that they would likely lose. And lose badly. So, Russia's not going to attack any of those countries, and we're not going to put official American troops into Ukraine because it would actually inflame tensions with Russia and their current ally, China. And it's like, I say current because I don't trust that relationship between the two of them. I think that's kind of iffy, and I've explained that in one of my other videos because of the disputed territory in Russia's east, surrounding Vladivostok. But if we get involved into Ukraine directly, like we send a whole armored division in there, it's like, yeah, China would likely start sending troops through Russia to Ukraine and get involved there. If not, they would also take the advantage to, because they would look at it as us expending resources in Ukraine. Maybe we won't have the ability to so easily help the Japanese defend the Ryukyu Islands or something. They would basically take advantage of the situation in favor of Russia. And that would be a very bad sign for everybody involved. So, that being said, it's like the Russians can't afford to attack anybody else because they'll widen the war, and we aren't willing to attack Russian troops with our troops directly because it would widen the war. And it's like for the same fear. You want to know what it was like to live in Cold War era times? Pretty much it. And this is the opening salvo of yet another Cold War. And it's like, in all honesty, I think it may continue for several decades to come. It's like I might be an old man by the time it ends. Like, really, really old man, like gray hair. I don't have much in the way of gray at this point, so. I know I'm bald, so I'm not that old yet. Just getting there. Until the songs that I grew, until the songs that I remember coming out when I was in school starts making it to the golden oldie stations. Okay, then we can say I'm old. So that would put me at about 60, 62, somewhere thereabouts. But I'm not old yet. I'm thinking like my grandfather's age. He just turned 83. That's 50 years in the future. And this whole thing of proxy wars will happen yet again. Where do I think the next front will be? There's plenty of hot spots throughout the world. But I don't think it'll go to a world war, and that's going to probably be one of my history lessons going forward. But I think that it'll be a series of proxy wars again, where the Russians will take advantage of helping the locals that are fighting against us anywhere we go, and we'll take advantage of the locals that are willing to fight against them anywhere they go. And the proxy wars that came with the Cold War is in itself a nasty bit of business, but I still think it's superior to the idea of the two largest militaries and their allies going directly into combat with one another. After all, both us and the Russians have nukes, and a lot of them. Yeah, it's like one side has, it's like say we did go into Ukraine and we caught the Russians completely off guard with, say, 10 divisions of troops. That's 250,000 troops to reinforce the Ukrainians, plus our allies. Like, say, everything the Russians thought, they fear about NATO comes true, and us and all of our allies, 10 divisions from us, say a grand total of 20 overall, goes slamming through Ukraine and keeps going to into Russia. Especially if they can't stop these guys. And that actually is a little bit low, so we'll say 50 divisions, so that way we're north of the 700,000, then it's like, okay. By that point, once they start getting close to Moscow, what do you think Vladimir Putin's going to do? If you're gonna get your head chopped off anyway, might as well take a few with them. And up goes the ICBM. If you're screwed anyway, why not take the other guy with you? That's probably what Russia would do. Heck, I'd consider the option very heavily if I was in his shoes. So, when it comes down to it, that's not going to happen because we're fearing that ICBM going up. And even if it is like, no matter what the Russians say or do, they're not going to I don't think they're going to lob a nuke, except for maybe Temple does have a point. What if it's one of the Russian suitcase nukes? One of the ones that's less, that's not a very big one, less than a kiloton. And I was like, how do we effectively respond to that? That might be the only one, and I don't think the Russians are going to be dumb enough to even try that because of the fact that at the very least, the whole rest of the world will turn against them. Even China will be like, dude, you're crazy. We're gonna have to remove you from power. What the... Okay. So that being said, I don't think that's gonna happen. No. And yeah, it's like, as a result, I think it'll just devolve into these proxy wars. Like I said, the Russians will train and equip the people that'll fight against us anywhere we go, and we'll train and equip anybody that are willing to fight against the Russians anywhere they go. And that's probably about as far as it's going to go. And there's going to be some moments of heightened tensions between here and there. And it's like, we're going to have our own version of the Cuban Missile Crisis. I'm betting on it. Where it was very close to where we were actually going to trade shots with the Russians. And I wasn't talking about vodka. One of the Iowa-class battleships was probably present at the embargo line. Yeah, that was keeping the Russian nukes from actually reaching Cuba. Not good. Not good. Okay. So, that being said, with my opinion, welcome to the Cold War 2.0. Population, us. That being said, I've been Lovell. You guys have been awesome. And I hope you guys are having a good day.